All right, here are your notes on our early atmosphere. Go ahead and pause this video as you need to record your notes. So first, about how the atmosphere first formed. So we do believe and have some evidence that our atmosphere started forming early on in Earth's life. We have examples of meteorites with water. They hit Earth, water vaporized, meaning became a gas, and it created this haze around our Earth. And that haze is our early atmosphere. That's how it started. Then we had a lot of volcanoes very early on in Earth's history. They release a lot of gas when they erupt. They release things like water vapor, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen. And this is where a lot of our atmosphere came from. It's from those early volcanoes erupting. You might know that a lot of our atmosphere is nitrogen. And so that nitrogen became a part of our atmosphere from these volcanoes. Now, how organisms changed Earth's atmosphere. So first of all, there was very, very little oxygen gas during the Hadean and Archean eons. You can see that here in this graph. Right, here's how much oxygen is in the atmosphere as we go through our 4 different eons. Right, so Hadean and Archean, pretty much nothing. As we get to the end of the Archean, we start getting some, and then it really got a lot more oxygen in the Proterozoic. Okay, and then in our current era, we're sitting just above 20% oxygen in our atmosphere. Now, the oldest known fossils that we've found are about 3.5 billion years old. And remember, the Earth is a little over 4.5 billion years old. But the oldest fossils are cyanobacteria. These are little organisms that use photosynthesis to produce nutrients. Basically take in the energy from the sun to produce the food and the things that they need to survive. And these cyanobacteria, oxygen is a waste product for them. So think like pee and poop is a human waste product. Oxygen is the waste product for cyanobacteria. So most scientists think that the cyanobacteria could have slowly produced enough oxygen from their waste to change the atmosphere and give rise to all of this oxygen in our atmosphere. Now you might be thinking it doesn't make sense that something tiny would give 20% of our atmosphere having oxygen. But remember, we're talking over a couple billion years. Okay, long, long, long time. But that is our current understanding. Our best evidence says that the cyanobacteria produce the oxygen in our atmosphere. Finally, how do we know that oxygen is in the atmosphere? How do we know when it was in the atmosphere? All that kind of stuff. The answer is rocks. We know when oxygen was in the atmosphere from rocks. Oxidized iron in the rocks shows that there had to have been oxygen in the atmosphere. That is the only way that we would have formed this kind of rock. So iron reacts with oxygen in the air to make iron oxide, which is the exact same thing as rust that you get on like a car or anything metal, right? It's that iron reacting with oxygen. So rocks from the late Archean, that second eon of time, they don't have iron oxides, showing that there wasn't oxygen gas at that time. We don't have the rocks with the oxygen gas. We didn't have oxygen gas. Then we start to get some banded iron formations. So this is kind of alternating bands of that iron oxide and a rock called chert, which doesn't have iron. So that's like this picture on the right. We have stripes where there was oxygen and stripes where there either wasn't oxygen or something else caused these different kind of rock to form for periods. And we start seeing these from the beginning of the Proterozoic era. Then later on, we start to get red beds. So many sedimentary rocks from the mid-Proterozoic, those are a rusty red in color because they have lots and lots of iron oxide in them, meaning there was lots of oxygen in our atmosphere by then. So if you've ever seen red rocks or dust or dirt or roads, that is all from these rocks that were formed with iron oxide, showing that we had oxygen in the atmosphere. So again, it's really just these rocks and the presence of that rust in them that told us kind of when we started to have oxygen in our atmosphere. That is it for this chunk of notes. You can rewind, pause, go back as many times as you need to complete your notes assignment.